You guys ever done a switcheroo?
We have.
Oh, shit. I was not expecting to answer that quick.
All right. So one time, one of the biggest stories we had, wrestling in high school. This dude was sick as fuck. He never loses. He went in, weighed in. He was the weight class lower than us, lower than me. But so they wanted us both. We were both the two of the better wrestlers on the team, so we took up the 2 spots. We were the same weight, but I had to gain weight. He had to lose a little bit of weight. We went to a tournament, sick as fuck. He weighed in for the lower weight. I weighed in for the weight right above it. He lost his first match, got smoked. Coach says, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You don't lose." And he looked at me and he said, "You're taking over." He said, "You're wrestling both matches back to back against the rules." But this was our coach's idea. We would have got kicked from the tournament had they found out. So I wrestled his match, won. Went to the locker room, did our thing, acted like we switched. I walked back out, wrestled back-to-back my own match as him and as me. That's probably one of our biggest stories. But we've done the switcheroo quite often.
Now, have you ever done a switcheroo?
We have done the switcheroo.
All right.
Hey,
I don't need the details on that. But
when the lights are out, they can't tell the difference.
Oh, my God. I mean, imagine the possibilities of having an identical twin brother. But I want to actually get to know you guys a little bit more. We talked a little bit about your story, but I want to dive in. Because I've always been fascinated by identical twins. I think it's one of the coolest things one of the greatest gifts God's ever given us is identical twins. Because it's cool, man. Like, you know, there's 2 of you, but you're such individuals. And growing up together and, like, you know, knowing there's probably nobody you know better than your brother. Now, I have a younger brother who's 5 years younger than me, and we know each other very well. But we're still so different, right? We have totally different behaviors, totally different interests, totally different everything. Where you guys, like, you're all each other has. And historically, you're all you have ever had. Mm-hmm. So let's dive in. What was childhood like?
Childhood was, we grew up in a military family. So we were born at a military base, and then we moved to Louisiana as kids. We grew up there till we were about 9. So we ran around, like, with each other. Like, my dad was in the military, so he was always gone or sleeping, and my mom worked overnights. So, like, we were left by ourselves quite often. We did have an older sister. But me and him would just run around the town, you know. Even as 5-year-old kids, we would leave, run around, and just be wherever, walking, riding our bike. Parents were just busy. Like, our dad would take us to the Army base and just let us run. He'd do his work, and we would just run the halls, go look at all the cool shit, all the cool helicopters, all that shit. It was literally, we were 5, 6, 7-year-old kids.
Oh, wow.
Just basically on our own. I mean... But we did have each other, so I think that also helped. We weren't just running around by ourselves.
Right.
So, like, I think that helped having another person to, you know, we took care of each other.
You guys get in trouble a lot, or were you guys pretty good kids?
And there was one time, I think my dad was sleeping, or my dad was working maybe, and my mom was sleeping. I can't remember exactly. We were 5 or 6. I had stitches in my head 3 times before the age of 6. Me and him were just... wandering the neighborhood. I was literally 5 or 6. I cannot remember how old, but we were running around in between cars. I hit my head on the side of a car door mirror, and it knocked me out. And I was just laying there. I woke up, and then I just started walking home. My head was hurting. I was holding my head, and some guy across the street comes flying across the street, picks me up, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He said, "Your head's bleeding." I look at my hand, there's blood everywhere, and he just carries me to my house. My mom does her whole deal. We go to the hospital, I get stitches. And I was probably 5 years old. We were always getting fucked up, but we always thought we were fine. But the adults never thought we were fine. They're like, "You're fucked up."
Well, yeah.
Dude. But...
that's just being boys, right?
Yeah, but that was an interesting story. I think that might have been the only time I've ever been knocked out in my entire life.
Oh, really?
A car door mirror when I was 5 years old, busted my head open. There's literally a scar right here.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the ways that people used to tell us apart, but we had short hair. So now my long hair covers up some of the things people used to tell us apart. Like, I have a pointy ear. That was always the main thing. Darren's got a point on his ear. So growing up, everyone would always look for the point on the ear or the scar on the head. All right, check this story out. So our mom worked nights, dad worked days because in the military. My mom was always like, "Oh, we're gonna leave you alone with the dad, whatever." So my dad like built. He was into what are they called? Like he would build little like aircrafts, like Star Trek aircrafts. Like he would do the whole
like tedious little tiny painting and building.
Like he would do all that. So he was focused, zoned in on his thing, you know. We were in our sister's room messing around, and you know the old furnaces that had like a flame in it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so his dumbass grabbed a piece of paper, stuck it in there, caught on fire, didn't know what the fuck to do with it, threw it in my sister's closet with stuffed animals and everything. We were like, holy fuck, things started catching on fire. Ran to the bathroom to grab a cup of water to, you know, light it out. By the time we got to my sister's room, the entire closet was on fire. And we're like, we told our dad, and my dad was like, what the fuck, dude? Had to call my mom, fire trucks. My sister's entire room caught on fire. The hole went into the other side.
The bathroom, it burned into the bathroom that was into the next room.
The fire trucks were all sitting out there. It was, and then we ended up moving across the street.
So we moved to the house across the street when we were in Louisiana.
Like
Probably 6 years old.
This motherfucker burnt all my sister's shit. She was like 7. Burnt everything she ever owned.
Oh, my God.
Wild.
So you guys were troublemakers.
Yeah,
Double trouble.
Trouble.
So as you grew up, did that just continue? What I mean, because it's funny, I watch you guys now and you have your shit together.
Yeah. But we still fuck around, you know, if you see our shit, you know.
Oh, I do.
Fuck around, but
We're still unorthodox, you know, kind of unorganized chaos, you know?
Okay.
Like, or organized chaos, however you would say, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you had mentioned a few things about your relationship with your dad, and a couple things that were really interesting to me. But so after you guys left Louisiana, what did that look like? Middle school, high school.
So we moved to Iowa. I want to say '99. We moved to Iowa.
So that would have been middle school or right around then.
I think fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
I want to say fourth grade. So fourth grade was the first that we were in Iowa.
So just think about this. We grew up in Louisiana until we were about 9 or 10. That's where we learned how to walk and talk, all this. We moved to Iowa. These motherfuckers are like, these guys sound like fucking weirdos. Like, you guys sound different. You talk different. You talk weird. Like, we literally grew up with a southern accent. But our whole family was in the Midwest. Like, so we were even different than our other family. Like, our immediate family lived in the South. So we were just different than our entire family for some reason, the way we talked, act.
But we moved to Iowa when we were 9 or 10. I think my dad lived there for a year, maybe. We joined the Boy Scouts. My dad drove us to the camps. We did a few things. It was cold out. I remember moments sitting in his white truck, cold, in the Boy Scouts. So we did that for a little while. I don't know all the details, but my dad ended up retiring from the military the same year that we moved to Iowa. My parents got a divorce, and then he moved to Oklahoma, and he's been there ever since. So from fourth grade all the way through high school, my mom worked 2 jobs, took care of me, my brother, and my sister. And it was just the 4 of us for those whatever years. And then
we'd go see him like every other summer, every summer, things like that. And then at some point, maybe later on in our high school, that stopped. But I think it was because we got busy. They got we're not exactly sure, but we were still young.
Yeah.
But to us, everything was always normal. Like we were never devastated by that. Our parents got a divorce. We weren't like, holy fuck, we don't have a dad no more. Everything was just always normal. We were just like, I don't know if it was just. It's hard to explain. Like maybe it was just because we always had each other that we weren't like.
Like I don't think we have that oh shit moment. This is scary. Like I'm depressed, angry. I don't know what's happening. I don't recall that moment. I just feel like we probably had each other. So I think we just continued to run around with each other saying whatever.
Well, yeah, most kids in that situation, it would be devastating. It'd be a huge life change. But I think having each other makes a huge difference. Yeah, how did your sister handle it?
I think just about as good as.
I think it was worse on her. I don't know. We obviously don't know what's going on through her head, but I think she dealt with it worse. Maybe I think she was maybe a daddy's girl. She got into a little more trouble than we did in high school. So, and she went through more jobs than we did. She ended up moving to South Dakota, where my grandparents were for a little bit.
This was like her senior year in high school.
And then she's in Oklahoma now. So she lives in the same apartment complex as my dad.
Oh, interesting.
And she has 3 kids. So I think she was the one that missed him the most. She just gravitated toward him. So.
But she kind of took care of us a little bit. She was 2 years older. So she kind of we all kind of took care of each other growing up.
So she was 2 years older than us in high school, so she drove first. So, she was the one driving us to and from school and everything. We walked, so we probably lived 5 miles from school. Our mom always worked overnights, and our dad wasn't there. So we were stuck, even in 4th grade, we were walking to school. So, winter, I remember walking to school in 4th grade, and it was ice, snow, everything. And then we would walk to high school. We would just walk until my sister got a car, and then she drove us. But we walked to and from school because my mom was either sleeping or working.
But she never worried about us. But she probably did in her own head. But what she expressed to us, she was never worried. She just was thought she assumed we were all right. But to go back to the devastating thing about losing our dad moving away, we grew up with friends saying, oh, yeah, my parents got a divorce, this and that. And they always explained how devastating that was to them. But their dad moved halfway across the city. And I'm just like, well, our fucking dad moved 3 states away.
It's almost harder when you're dealing with custody and going from house to house where you're dealing with a normality, plus you have each other. Let me ask you guys this. Do you ever feel lonely?
Sometimes. Not in a massive aspect, but I think naturally, we feel like we're missing a little part of something growing up.
But nowadays, you guys have each other all the time. You work at the same place, you live together and all of that. Do you ever have feeling of loneliness?
I don't know.
I think we're kind of numb to a lot of that.
I
think we're numb to all that. I think
what a lot of people don't realize, so a lot of our friends in our town in Iowa have aunts, uncles, cousins. They were born, grew up in the town that we live in. We're the only 2 relatives in our entire city. We have aunts and uncles and cousins that live in the other side of the state. But outside of that, we are actually the only 2 that live in Iowa. We have no aunts, cousins, uncles, no grandparents, nothing. It's literally just the 2 of us. Our mom actually lives in Kansas.
She, shortly after high school, she bounced too. She moved to Kansas, and she's been all over the place. But see, her thing was my sister moved to Oklahoma. My mom's wild. She's all over the place. She does everything for everyone.
She likes to take care of the kids. She likes to make sure the kids are my sister has 3 kids. My mom is literally driving from Kansas to Tulsa all the time. She always picks up the kids. So shortly after high school, she actually moved to Kansas.
Oh.
Just to be closer to my sister's kids, and which basically left us the only 2 in Iowa, literally by ourselves.
So that's kind of why we formed this bond. And our grandmother lived in Sioux Falls, which was her mom. So my mom was back there, and we were in the middle. So my mom would come see us and then go see her mom. And then, so my mom was doing everything for everyone. Her mom, us, my sister. So at some point, our grandmother passed away 2 years ago. And so our mom doesn't really have to go up to Sioux Falls anymore as often. So I think ultimately she's going to end up in Oklahoma, where my dad lives, but it's because of my sister and the grandkids. So basically, I think our mom's going to ultimately end up in Oklahoma.
Yeah, so I remember. So my parents met in Sioux Falls. They met in Sioux Falls. That's where they got married and everything. His entire family lives in Flandreau, South Dakota. My mom's entire family grew up in Sioux Falls. So when we lived in Louisiana, I remember taking 2-day trips in the van to Sioux Falls from Louisiana for the holidays, Christmas, this and that. So it was actually the 5 of us for the first 10 years of our life. It was my mom, my dad, my sister, and me, and my brother. And we would take 2-day trips from Louisiana to Sioux Falls before all this happened. My dad used to take us fishing in Louisiana. We would fish in the Gulf. So we did miss out on all that after 10. So when we would visit him for the 3 months of summer in Oklahoma, one of the trips we would take would be to Louisiana to fish. So 13, 14, every summer we would go fish. Like we would fish in the Gulf and catch 50 catfish in 3 hours with our dad.
So we still had small relationships with him growing up, but I think at some point it kind of hit a dead end once we got into high school, because obviously we had our sports, we had all that stuff. We basically had to focus a lot of that. So it's like driving to and from Oklahoma wasn't really feasible, you know?
Yeah.
I mean.
So going through high school, what were some of your influences? What did you like? Sports, music?
So,
what were some of the things that kind of kept you guys like...
So when we were in 4th grade, I think the first organized sport we did was flag football. And then we did these like little track meets, track things. And then in 7th grade, we what did we do? We tried out for basketball, I think, in 7th grade. Didn't really work out. We were just trying different things. Basketball was fun, so that's why we did it. But we weren't that good at it. You know, we were always small. And then I think one of the moments where we got into weightlifting was probably 7th grade. There was this little weight room in our junior high school, and we went into it with a class for the first time ever. We started using the machines, and we were like, this is cool. And we like used the little... It was like an old bench machine, like super, super old school stuff. And I was like it just was cool because we were always the smallest people, like literally the smallest kids in every room we were ever in growing up. So that's kind of the first spark that we got for wrestling. And then we met new friends, junior high, this and that. They were doing football. They were doing organized sports with their family growing up. We literally never did little kid sports.
Because our mom was so busy working, she didn't really have time to get us into sports. So basically, we were getting ourselves and getting each other into sports our whole life. So we relied on each other to make sure, all right, we should try this, we should do this, we should do that. We didn't have a parent getting us into sports. But once all that happened, you know, our mom was our biggest supporter. She went to every single wrestling meet, every single track meet, no matter where it was. My mom was driving there, recording. My mom was the lady in the stands with the damn camcorder screaming, hollering at all this shit. And it's just like, tripod. You can hear her in the background of all these damn videos.
So we did track in 7th grade, first year of track. We did that. It was fun. And then we had friends that were in football. So 8th grade, we tried out for football team, played football in 8th grade. So 8th grade was actually the first year we did football, our second year in track, and then we decided to go out for the wrestling team. We didn't even wrestle in 7th grade. First year ever wrestling was in 8th grade. We wrestled. We were actually
and this was in Iowa. Think about Iowa.
We were actually pretty good. Never had a losing record. I would beat most of the people that I wrestled. I think it's just because of my mentality and I was stronger than most people I wrestled, even though these people had more experience than me. 8th grade was the first year of football and wrestling. But it was because our friends were in that stuff. And then freshman year, 9th grade, there was a weightlifting or like a powerlifting group. So we were already small and we kind of liked weightlifting. Freshman year, we were going to do track no matter what because we had already been doing that. We did football our freshman year. We were once again the smallest kids on the team. They had to find pads that fit us, you know, how much we were those people. But there was a weightlifting program. So where they teach you how to weightlift, they had powerlifting meets, and the coach was super, super supportive. He brought us in. We would lift with the older football players, all the older people, and we joined the weightlifting team. So we did, I think Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like lifting after school, because that's how the schedule was. And then we had, I think, 3 powerlifting meets scheduled for that season. We did all of them. Me and him actually won our weight class every time we weightlifted, like the powerlifting. We were rookies of the year on the team for powerlifting. And then the very last powerlifting meet that we did was the coach drove me and him to the school after the meet, and we sat in the van, and I remember talking to him, and he said, you guys used to wrestle? And I said, I did 1 year or whatever. And he said, I think you guys should join the wrestling team next year instead of doing weightlifting. It was the same season. And he said, I think that would be good for you. So we did weightlifting our freshman year. And then we wrestled 8th grade, didn't wrestle 9th grade. And then because of the weightlifting coach, we joined wrestling again in 10th grade.
So basically, we were starting all over at wrestling in the state of Iowa, which was the greatest wrestling state in the country. And we were started as juniors and our sophomores in high school. That was basically our first year was 8th grade, but obviously we missed a year, didn't really learn a whole lot in junior high. Basically started over in 9th grade.
So we actually wrestled junior varsity our sophomore year. There were kids that were already in place, already had their spots. They were state wrestlers. They were already some of the best in the state. We won a lot of junior varsity matches, won a lot of junior varsity tournaments, had a winning record. The next year, those older people were gone. So junior year, me and him showed up. We were the next two guys in those two smaller weights. The coaches were like, "You guys are the guys." They were pumped. They were excited for us.
And these people knew we didn't grow up with a dad, so they were kind of our father figures. All of our high school sports coaches were our father figures, basically.
So junior year of wrestling, I wrestled a lot of kids that had been wrestling since they were kids. I was beating them. I had a winning record. I think I won the conference tournament. And then districts came. I didn't really know a whole lot about the whole state thing, this and that. I was like, it's cool. I qualified for state. My first varsity year, which was my junior year in high school, in the state of Iowa. I qualified for the state tournament, which they take the top two in districts. So,
and people were telling us how crazy that was, but we didn't know how crazy Iowa wrestling was. They said, "That's insane. You guys have only wrestled 2 years of your life and you're going to state."
So I rolled through the district tournament and I did lose the final match, but it did put me in second place. So me and the other kid, which already he was going to the other school in town that was this big wrestling school. He was already really good, so he beat me. I took second, whatever. Went to state, didn't do that good, lost. But senior year came around. I showed up as a ranked wrestler in the state of Iowa. I was ranked. And this was after only 2 years of wrestling in high school when I made it to state. And then actually, as the season continued my senior year, the kid that was already qualified with me was already there again. He had barely beat me, but he was already there. It was me and him. This other random kid that showed up beat me twice. And I'm like, oh, well, that kind of puts me in the third position. Takes top two. This kid beat me twice through the season. I think he beat me at conference and then beat me in the duel.
Him and the other two kids were the previous qualifiers, and then this third kid came in. And
he beat me twice. So districts came, and it's time, go time. And I'm just thinking, this is my senior year. I literally qualified the year before. I had to wrestle that kid that had beat me twice. I beat him. And then I made it into the finals against the other kid that I already qualified with. The kid that I had beat, that had beat me all year, his dad walked up to me in between the match and he said, "My kid really wanted this." And he's like, he's really bummed out and stuff. And he's like encouraging me to beat the other kid that I wrestled because he's like, if I beat him, his kid gets a rematch against that kid or whatever.
Yeah.
But ends up being me and the same kid that qualified again.
What's the biggest thing that you guys learned about wrestling? About your life?
Discipline.
Yeah.
I mean, I think wrestling is one of the most important sports you can get a kid into. Growing up, it's going to build mentality, discipline. Your mental strength in wrestling is huge. I think you build that more in wrestling than most sports.
I had another guest on, and he's a coach of ours, and you met him, Jacob Lawson. He's from Louisiana.
Okay.
Same thing he said. The discipline of a wrestler.
It's a team sport, but it's an individual sport.
Right.
It's you versus the other person. If you lose, it's your fault. You lose a team sport, everyone had a hand in it. But if you lose your match, that is on you. It's 100% your fault.
Or if you don't make weigh-in.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, actually, coming in my senior year, I had already qualified the year before. Our bus showed up to districts late. 10 minutes before weigh-ins. I was half a pound over. I was so devastated, just thinking, oh my God, all this work went just like last year. Screwed up. I put on every single person's coat, all the big guys, everyone's coat, and multiple sweatpants, just ran. took it off, weighed in, and it was like bouncing from 0.0 to 0.1, 0.0, 0.1, and it stopped on 0.0, and I made weight by the exact point.
Oh, wow.
And all the people behind me were watching, the other wrestlers were probably hoping, one of the big dogs in the tournament, not going to make weight? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But I made weight by the exact point my senior year.
I love it.
Because of that.
So, obviously getting to do that kind of stuff and growing up through that, you guys have started to kind of build your character through team sports like that. And now we start to get into entertaining and, your look, your image, your hair. Goddamn, I'm always jealous when I see your guys' hair.
You should be.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Listen, I got the height.
Hey, it is what it is.
But the hair, and just like your overall appeal, because you guys have a really cool look, and you have just a really cool vibe. Like that's when I first met you guys, I was like, these guys are it. Like these guys are so talented, so funny, and you have a great story. And getting to know you guys more today, having you guys fly out to Huntington Beach has been awesome. But as we move forward and as we start to build out this brand and what we're doing, and we've gotten to work for a few months together, and it's been fun to watch you guys grow and find yourselves, right? Because at the end of the day, when you start to build out your personal brand, it is so much about finding yourself and finding your voice and what you do. And it's funny how you guys are, because you're very laid back dudes. And I'm in your corner, let's fucking fire up, guys. And you've called me a number of times, and you've been like, yeah, we're just not like that. I'm like, you are like that, but you just have to find out what you want and what your purpose is. But I don't care about talking about your purpose. But at this point, what do you think the why is?
The why.
That's the thing that we've never been able to figure out.
You know what? I figured out it was going to be a tough question.
I think that's what it is. I
think we don't know what we're destined to be. I think that we've always known we are a little different, kind of special. Not special as in I think I'm the coolest person in the world, but I think we've always thought we were different. Mentally, we grew up and all of our friends were always different than us. But I think it was part of the way we grew in the South, didn't have a dad, things like that. I think we grew up very cultured. We moved to Iowa, everyone's stuck in this bubble, and they're all Midwestern country hunting farm guys. And we grew up in this huge culture difference. We went to Oklahoma a lot. We went to the South Sioux Falls. We hung out when we lived in Louisiana, we hung out in Mississippi a lot.
Every friend that we had cousins, and we already talked about had cousins.
Yeah.
So when we lived in Louisiana, we were one of 3 white kids in our class. And we moved to Iowa, and it was the opposite.
Right.
So
I can tell you just from the outside looking in and getting to know you guys more and more, and I think a lot of times we look for purpose and why, and we try to find this deeper, profound meaning. But at the end of the day, it could be kind of just glaring us in the face. You guys are entertainers.
Yeah.
That's what people have told us. People have told us lean into the entertainment part of everything. People have told us that forever.
The problem is that, and we've had these conversations before, so I feel comfortable talking about it on camera. And I'm not calling out anybody that could be watching this and know you guys from back home. But you've historically surrounded yourself with losers, or maybe not losers, but people that don't want to do anything.
People that are accepting that they should just live an average life.
Right.
Or people that have not encouraged us to do the ideas that we bring up.
Because I think
that would be a loser to me. But anyways, again, you guys, if you guys had the right push
and the right people around us, I think, sky's the limit.
You told me a story about getting to do a movie and your friends dogging on you for it.
Yeah. Made us feel weird about it.
We would all be like, get another movie. What are you talking about? This is fucking badass.
Yeah. That's what the people that were telling us that we were talking to when we did it.
But then when we went back home, we got stuck in this bubble of people again, and they're like, that's not what we do. That's not what people do. That's not normal.
That's the biggest problem, and I'm not dogging on any state or whatever, but that's the biggest problem with flyover small town city situations, is that they're small thinkers. They don't see big things. But when you see 2 guys who one I don't know what the statistic is, but identical twins is very rare.
Yeah, less than 1% of the population.
Less than 1% of the population. You guys are jacked. You got this badass looking hair. You got this like really cool story about you, which, you know, built you into the men that you are today, which is entertaining. It's fun, but plus you have a good heart. You're disciplined. You know, you like to train. You like to help people. You like to do all of these things. Like, who gives a fuck what anybody says? That, like, what you have is so special.
Yeah. So I mean, like, people in your position have been telling us that for years, but we still go back to, you know, our group of people, the people that live. But I'm not saying, like, you know, there's a lot of them are losers, but a lot of our friends aren't losers, and they have built their own businesses and they're very successful in what they do. Like, but it's like a lot of labor work. Like, we have a.
Well, do you want that?
No, I don't.
Then why would you listen to them?
Exactly. We have one friend that's built a massive fencing business, and he makes a lot of money, but he's always working his ass off, and he's always at work.
Do you want that life?
I don't.
Then why would you even listen to them?
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Success in terms of building a big business is not always all it's cracked up to be. Right? A lot of those guys are fat, miserable, they're drinking all the time.
Exactly.
Right? Like, okay, cool, they have money in a business. That's like the bare minimum of life.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a businessman, you should make money. If you're a businessman, you should be good at what you do and successful. If you're not, then you're not really a businessman. You're there's something else there going on. Right? But if you're a businessman, you make money, but you're fat, you're drunk, your relationships suck, you're talking down to people and dogging on people who are trying something out of the box.
Yeah, so what's the point?
Fuck you. Like, what do they know?
Exactly.
They know how to stand up a fence and make some money? Cool, that's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
That is the bare minimum. And what you guys could do is something so great. Because you have each other, you have discipline, right? You know how to train, you know how to eat, you know how to talk to people, you know how to entertain people. You have so much going for you, and you have this great story. And another thing that you mentioned too, real quick, is that your heart. And you said something before. You were like, you know, our dad left, and you said, but we forgave him, and we were kind of glad that he did, because he pursued what he wanted to do. You said we don't hold any resentment.
So basically, the last thing that we want is for my dad to die and be depressed and feel that he made the wrong decision. Because I don't really give a shit. People can do what they want.
I don't know. We don't know what was going through his head at the time.
Why don't you guys give yourself the same grace?
And
go do what you want.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Right? You give your dad so much grace.
Hey, but our dad did give us 2 older brothers that we're very close to. So
and that's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's not, and I agree. You know, my dad had an affair, left my mom, and to this day, I think it was the best decision that he ever made.
We were his second family.
See?
Yeah.
But you don't hold it against the man.
No.
You're a man. You guys are. We're men. Like, you know, it's not.
There's so much going on. There's some people that don't have anything.
Right.
So.
And again too, that also goes back to, like, it's not so much like it is accountability, right? Where it's like, oh my God, you guys could be fucked up. Oh, my dad left us. He had a second family. Blah blah blah. Like, woe is me. But instead, you go. And this goes kind of back to everything's our fault, right? But it's like, it's not that it's your fault, but it's like, okay, well, now what do I do with my life? Do I go, woe is me, hit the bottle, fuck around, do all kinds of bullshit? Or do I do exactly what you guys did? Work hard, build a nice life for yourself, establish really good credit scores, which is very important. A lot of people listening to this may not agree, but that's probably one of the most important things that you can do as an adult, is have a good credit score and be able to live the life of your dreams and make the money that you want, be good with your money and responsible with it, and live your why or your purpose, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But entertaining people is fucking fun. I do it too.
Yeah, it's fun. It is fun when you get to be the person that is the entertainer in the room or the group or even on the internet. It's fun.
Right.
It's fun as fuck. People, like, knowing that I was the person that made someone laugh, like, that's fucking an amazing feeling.
It is. That's a great gift you can give somebody, is making them laugh, making them feel heard, making them feel seen.
And the way
emotions. So making someone laugh, making someone smile, happy, mad, angry, all of that. People don't necessarily remember what you said to them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. in the moment that you were with them. They're gonna like they'll hang out with you and they'll go off on their own and they'll be like, he made me feel a certain way. I don't remember what he said, but my emotions went negative, positive, whatever it went. Someone's gonna remember that.
And do you enjoy doing that for people?
Yeah, we do.
So get the fuck out more.
Yeah,
do this shit more. Yeah. You guys coming here is monumental.
It is. I mean, that's what we were a little we were a little nervous. I mean, we
almost wanted to back out.
Like we were like there was a moment where we were thinking, why the fuck are we going to California to haven't talked to Justin Wenzel? Like we don't know the guy. Like he's one of our mentors, but we're no one.
And then if we commit to it, now I have to start doing stuff.
And it's like I don't have a story to tell this fucking guy. This dude's lived in Huntington Beach and has this amazing story, but I don't. What the fuck am I going to tell him that he's going to be impressed by? Why would you be impressed by us?
I'm impressed by all of it. This was one of my favorite days. You guys are some of my favorite guests. You guys are
and
fucking
that means
rad.
a lot. That means a lot. Hearing that, like,
but
people don't say that.
You're predicting or anticipating something that that didn't even exist.
Exactly. That's what we say. It doesn't exist.
Anxiety, the future thoughts of the unknown.
Anxiety does not exist.
Yeah. See, I didn't have any of those thoughts. I told Freddie, I'm like, these guys are fucking funny. They're hilarious. They're good dudes. I can't wait to have them out here. I can't wait to pull it all out of them.
Anxiety does not exist.
Those were my feelings. And I'm pretty sure I told you that.
Yeah, you did.
And yet you did.
I still was thinking.
Shit go on in your head.
For sure.
Stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop.
Yeah. That's what we need. That's what we need to hear.
I'm telling you how great you are.
That's what we need to hear.
The world needs guys like you. Mm-hmm. Guys that don't hold resentment. Guys that are self-aware, accountable. It's our fucking fault.
Everything's your fault.
Everything's your fault.
Good, bad, medium, everything.
Your dad should be really proud of what he's.
I mean, he does. They do voice both our parents do voice how proud they are about us.
I think they do brag about us to the people that they communicate with.
I'm sure they do.
Our mom always has. She's been our biggest supporter.
You'll see her on every single one of our Instagram posts.
My mom has worked in casinos for 30 years, so she worked in the 2 casinos that we have in town. Every time we showed up, the casino, we would sit at a table. And obviously that dealer knew my mom and then knew us, and they would always talk about how our mom talked about us. Always. Every time we would meet my mom's employees that she worked with. That's what they always said, that she always bragged about us.
Like she had our pictures in her little thing and she'd pull them out and say, these are my twin boys.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
She actually bought us our, when we were 14, this was the same year that we did the weightlifting. The very first time, 12 years old, the first time I touched weight equipment, I was like, the coolest thing ever. Fell in love with it. 14 years old, we did the powerlifting stuff. Our birthday, our freshman year in high school, mom was like, what do you guys want? We went to Walmart and bought a barbell, a bench, plates, 25s, like basically everything we needed. A few dumbbells, maybe 20s, 10s, whatever. And we put it in our basement. Me and him would literally get out of school, go to that basement, and do workouts that we would look up. I guess internet wasn't really that there, but books, magazines. We would just do the sets that they taught us in weightlifting. We would just sit there and just do the bench. We would track our numbers, do this and that. 14 years old, and we were one of the few people in our group that we would go home from school every night, and we would literally just go into that basement. We would lift weights because it was the coolest thing in the world.
And
we probably weighed 80 pounds. I'm not kidding.
That's great.
And to this day, we still have 90% of that weight equipment. We probably have close to $20,000 worth of gym equipment in our basement right now, and we still have 90% of the original equipment. And literally, my favorite dumbbells are the ones that have rust on it and a hole in it. That's what the first dumbbell I ever bought when I was 14 years old.
So when we were 18, my mom had always worked overnights. So after we graduated, we were holding parties in her house. So we would have a party and the house was cleaner than it was when she went to work, and she was always like, oh, you guys had a party because the house is clean now. We would try, clean it up before she got home from her overnight
hoping
shift.
She wouldn't find out, but the fact that it's cleaner is...
So there were times that I remember that we would we at 18, we had parties, we drank with all these people, and we would walk down to the basement and do like bench press with people.
We would have
like
lifting
people,
competitions, and while we were drunk with our friends, like
at 18 years old, because that stuff was just down there, and I just have those memories. And then we would clean the house, and my mom would come home and say, "You guys had a party, didn't you?"
But she never, she yelled at us, did things, but she just always assumed that we were okay. I don't know. I don't think she ever really worried about us, which obviously she probably did. She just never voiced that to us.
Kind of let us do our thing.
She never told us no, basically.
Well, I think they knew that you guys had each other and you were going to ultimately make the right decision. I think they knew ahead of time.
Okay.
I really do. So going back to the military base, right? One, you're in a military base, so like when you banged your head, odds of somebody seeing you and knowing what to do is probably pretty great, right? Yeah. You got a bunch of life-saving, military dudes around you. Yeah. You're probably taken care of. You're probably pretty safe.
Yeah.
But then, ultimately, I think they knew that they didn't raise dummies. And it shows to this day now, where you guys have come and that you have each other. Real quick, I want to touch on your life. So we've been doing different strategy, and then we decided to go with going TikTok live, and it's been going really well. And we were talking about it at lunch today. How you guys get a lot of female attention, and I'm sure you do, with the long hair and all of that. And then how the haters come in, and we just block them out. It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. Like, they're losers. But where do they find you to watch your lives? Because I think that's pretty valuable what you guys are doing.
TikTok. So our brand, we also didn't know when we first created this brand, like 5 years ago. We ran through millions of names. We're like, what the fuck should this be called? We don't know. And for some reason, we landed on Twin Aesthetics. Yeah. I don't know why. That's what we landed on. That's the brand that we have across the board. And
we had a list of names, just going through and seeing what feels good. Like we were looking up twin stuff, Googling stuff. What does twin mean? What are astronomies? This, that. And
I think the two we landed on was Twin Aesthetics and Twin Aesthetics.
Yeah.
But I think Twin Aesthetics kind of rolled more.
Sounds good.
It didn't good. But we're Twin Aesthetics on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and we do have a Twitch, but we don't really use that anymore. But we go by Twin Aesthetics on every platform, basically.
Awesome. Because I know you guys are starting to make waves on TikTok, and I'm excited to watch you guys grow there. Dude, you guys, this was so much fun.
And no, it was this whole trip is a huge eye-opening. Very kind of exactly what I expected, but I was still nervous. But it's basically what I expected.
We need to see you guys in California more. You should be out here filming, doing stuff, doing more podcasts, doing more things like this, because you belong out here. You belong doing this kind of stuff.
So I think we actually thrive in these kind of moments, but we tell ourselves that we won't. Before we get there, we're like, oh, we're going to fuck it up. We're going to do this. But once we get in the position, I think we thrive in it.
Yeah,
I think
let's put that shit aside.
I think it just rolls off.
You're natural.
Mm-hmm.
You're fucking natural. It's so good. I see it in you guys. I think you're going to be huge. I think you're going to be, and even Jay Cutler saw it in you.
Yeah.
And you have two guys that have done pretty well in, being seen, heard, and influencing people, telling you this same exact thing. It's time to get over the imposter syndrome.
In the back of my head.
Yeah, but it's okay. You'll get over that eventually. You just have to put yourself out there enough times to get one, battle scarred from losing, right? And then two, start winning and see that, oh shit, it does happen. It does exist. This was so much fun, you guys. I'm so glad you're on here. Guys, if you like what you saw, make sure you go check them out at Twin Aesthetics. We'll put all of their stuff below. If you guys like this, make sure you subscribe to the Justin Wenzel podcast, like, comment, share all this stuff out, and we'll catch you next time on the Justin Wenzel podcast. We're out.